Hello again. So I said that I was going to talk about resumes and cover letters, but unfortunately I haven't made a lot of progress this week on applications or um, anything having to do with me submitting my resume or cover letter. So I'm going to put that off maybe until next week. And instead, I was going to talk about something that is more applicable to somebody at any point in law school, not just someone at the point of looking for jobs. And that is the issue of speaking up in class participation. Now, every school is different, but the Socratic method, as they call it, is pretty standard in most law schools, I think. So basically what that is that the professor will just call on someone randomly. And it was difficult to get used to coming out of undergrad because this teaching style was not done at all. It was all just like lecture at you. And even though it can be really intimidating at first to get used to like the possible threat of a professor calling on you at any moment, I think that it's a much more interesting learning atmosphere. And maybe that's just my learning style. But so this advice is basically about what to do if you're not the type of person that likes speaking up, or I don't know, just maybe you aren't really comfortable with the answers, or you're afraid of them calling on you randomly. So what you can do that is really helpful is to basically, like, I call it taking control of your own destiny in the classroom. A professor is way more likely to call on you randomly if you, well, actually there's one of two situations. They'll call on you maybe if they know you're reliable, like you know the answers. So that's kind of like a downside of having the right answers. Or they'll call on you if you don't speak up enough because they want to hear from you, or they just want to torture you. Anyways, so this is my advice about that. Each week, when you're doing the reading, familiarize yourself really well with at least one case. I mean, you should be doing all the reading, hopefully, but just really know one case. And so when the professor starts talking about that case and is inevitably like, all right, who wants to talk about this? Then you can raise your hand and be the person who, blows them away by knowing this case. And then you're kind of off the hook for the rest of the class. Now again, as I was saying, this varies from class to class because some professors do like people who are on call that week or whatever. But if you're on call that week, it kind of eliminates the problem because you know which cases you should know better that week. But in classes where it's a lot of just the professor like saying, all right, who wants to talk about this? And then when nobody speaks up, they randomly call on people. You want to be that person who can raise their hand and get it out of the way, as opposed to getting called on for a case that maybe confused you or you didn't know as well. So that's my strategy, and hopefully that helped for this week. I had to do it a lot this week, so it's been on my mind. Next week, I'm not sure what I'll talk about. Like I said, hopefully the resumes and cover letters. Yep.